Hello everybody, it's Matt and this is a quick video of why I'm swapping from Octopus Go to Octopus Flux now. So a quick overview of my system. I have 12 410 watt panels. That's 4.92 kilowatt peak altogether. That feeds into a 5 kilowatt string inverter, and this links into my GivEnergy All-in-One battery and gateway system. That's a 13.5 kilowatt hour battery that can import and export at 6 kilowatts. And then I have a MyEnergi, Eddi and Harvi, but that's switched off at the moment. So to try to make my decision a bit easier, I created a quick and pretty basic model of what my solar does on an average day of each month, and then try to work out what the costing of that is, and then sum that up to work out which tariff is better. So this sheet you can currently see is the Octopus Go tariff, and there's a few variables down the left hand side and the pricing down the center. So where I am currently, the Go price is 9 pence a kilowatt hour during the off peak, going up to 30.23 pence during the peak hours. For exports, I can only be on the outgoing light, which is 8p a kilowatt hour. Now what this sheet does is per half an hour, I've worked out what my average house power was. So I did that from going into Home Assistant and just downloading all the data I could get. Now in that case, if you look in this spreadsheet, you get data almost minute by minute. So I've then split that out into the half-hour segments, and then just a simple average over each of those. And this is the corresponding graph of that. As you can see, we kind of get up about 6, half 6. It's quite low during the day, and then around half 4, 5, when we stick the oven on, we get a big peak usage, and then it slowly drops off. So that gets fed into this spreadsheet in column G. Now, one thing I didn't expect when I got the battery system installed is that the actual amount of energy I use a day has actually increased by quite a lot. So before I had the system installed, I probably used 8 to 8.5 kilowatt hours a day. However, since having the battery installed and solar, I'm probably averaging 10 to 10.5. So we're actually using 2 kilowatt hours more a day than before. So this will be a combination of charging the battery isn't 100% efficient. So you have to convert it from AC to DC, store that DC as chemical energy in the battery, and then take it out again, chemical to DC, DC back to AC. And overall, that's probably about a 15% loss. But there's also the case of both the battery and the gateway system consume about 40 watts continuously. Even if the battery's doing nothing and we're just running off grid, the two systems together obviously have little computers inside, and they actually consume a lot more power than I thought. So that's why up here there is a extra load that I'm adding on to the figures. We then have the solar forecast. So I've modeled how much solar I would get on a perfectly clear day for each month. So you've had to take into account where my house is, the angle of the roof, the azimuth of the house. So how far south is it pointing? Is it east-west? And then, knowing that, I can then look at the monthly PV GIS output and work out what the daily average actually is as a percentage of what a perfect day is. So this is my modeling from PV GIS. It's obviously very low in January and December, and then for me it actually peaks in May and then slowly descends. But anywhere from March to September, October, is really good months, and the other 4 so-so. So back in here, this is then the adjusted solar, and then there's just a whole bunch of calculations that work out what my house load is, what the expected solar is, and then is that charging the battery, is it discharging? If the battery's full, then that then gets exported. So there's just a big set of calculations, and at the end of it you get a import cost and an export cost, and obviously the difference is how much it's cost you for the day. So you can see for Octopus Go, it's going to cost us, including standing charge, £31.50, or if you exclude it, because that'll be the same between the two, be £16.81, which obviously very good compared to probably about £90 if I was on the standard variable rate. Now if we do the same but we swap to the Flux tariff, so this is slightly more complex tariff. So in here you have a slightly shorter off-peak time. So instead of 4 hours for Go, you have 3 hours, and it's a lot higher rate. So while Go is 9p, Flux is 17.06. It then goes to the day rate, which is 28.44p, and then between 4 and 7 o'clock, there's the peak rate, which is almost 40p. So you might wonder why you would ever want to swap to that. And the answer is the export price. As you can see, during the peak rate, there's also the peak export. So I can get 28.28p. So if you've got solar and battery and you can charge it up during the day, when it comes to this expensive time for import and good time for export, you can then dump your battery out, gaining you money back. So if you look at the figures here, yes, it's costing me a lot more to import, £2.72 a day, but I'm generating almost £4 profit a day from exporting, giving me a overall profit of the day of £1.20. Now if we go back to Go, you'll see, yes, my import cost is significantly less, almost a third of it. My export is nothing compared, it's almost a tenth of it. However, this obviously is very dependent on what your house load is and how much solar you have. So for me, mid-March is probably about where it breaks even. I'm expected to generate around 12 kilowatt hours in March. So by the time you get to the middle of the month and onwards, I'll be hitting that kind of figure. And as I'm only needing 10 kilowatt hours a day for the house, that means I've got a surplus, and that's when I think the Flux tariff works best. So if we swap this from March all the way to May, which is my best month in terms of solar generation, allegedly, you'll see, let me just change some figures. The Go tariff would actually come down to almost zero. So even on Go, I would basically be paying nothing for my electricity. However, if we then swap to the Flux tariff and do the same and swap it from March to May, you'll see I'm now earning £62 a month. So hopefully if we can do that over the 5 or 6 really good solar months, that should easily pay for my electricity in the winter months. And I'll still probably swap back to Go in the winter. That allows me to go onto the DFS events. So that's when you sell back your excess energy at high demand days. While you can sign up for that on Flux, because you're already exporting at those times, you won't actually get any benefit for it. And because you can earn up to anywhere from £2 to £4 a kilowatt hour, it's a lot better to be on Go during the winter than it is on Flux. So I hope you enjoyed that video. If you're not on Octopus and you do want to join, by all means use my sign up code. You can see it listed up there, and have a good day. Thank you for watching.